Hi, welcome to King Crochet. Today's lesson is going to be how to do foundation crochet stitches. These are sometimes called base chain stitches or foundation stitches, and it's a different way to start a project so you don't have to use a starting chain. If you remember from the ripple blanket, I said that the starting chain, often the tension will be hard, so I'll use a bigger size hook, but the real way that I usually get around this is that I use foundation stitches. So I'm going to show you a couple of different foundation stitches, and I don't actually have a square for you to learn today. I want you to pick one of these and make up your own square. And I'd love to see what you come up with. You should tag me on Instagram. It's kickin_crochet on Instagram, or find me on Facebook, and I'd love to see your pictures. Or mary@kickincrochet.com, you can email me. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is the foundation, well, let's start with a single crochet. So normally I would do a bunch of chain stitches and then I would work back along them with single crochet. Instead, I'm going to start with a chain one. Now a single crochet, normally I insert my hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. So I'm going to treat this chain that I just made as though it were my first stitch that I'm working into. So I'm going to insert my hook in that bump, in that third loop, yarn over, and pull through. Now instead of finishing my single crochet, I'm going to do one chain with my last loop on my hook. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through just one. So I've just made an extra chain stitch in my single crochet, and that is my foundation chain that I'm working a single crochet on top of. So now I'm going to finish my single crochet. I'm going to yarn over and pull through both loops. So the next one, I'm going to work through this V. So I want that V to show up on the bottom of my work as nice stitches. So I'm going to make sure I go through both the loops on the bottom. I'm going to yarn over, pull through a loop, but I'm not going to finish my single crochet yet. I'm going to yarn over, pull through one loop to make that extra chain, then yarn over and pull through both. Again, I'm going to insert. So I've got to make sure I'm moving over each time. That extra stitch I made is where I'm inserting my hook. So I've got this V. I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops, then chain one, then yarn over and pull through both. So this right here is the chain I just made. You can see the V on the bottom of it. I'm going to insert my hook through that V, yarn over, pull a loop through, chain one, yarn over and pull through both. So as I go, every stitch I do an extra chain, and that is my foundation chain. So I'm going to do just a couple more so you can see how it looks when it's a little longer. And this is the general principle of foundation stitches, is that you're always going to do an extra chain right after where you would normally have inserted your hook through the next stitch. So you're always making an extra chain in the process. Okay. So here's my foundation single crochet chain. You can see the bottom has this nice V pattern. If my phone will autofocus, there we go. So you can see that it's going to look really nice on the edge. I'm not going to have to go back and make an edging on that if I don't want to. Sometimes it still will, you have some tension issues. You got to make sure, it takes some practice to get that chain on the bottom the right tension, but because it's worked into the stitches, it's much stretchier than a regular chain foundation row would be. So that's really nice. One thing that you might run into with foundation chains is if you're going to have to join in a round, you'll notice that since your initial chain wasn't joined, your bottom will be separated. So here's how to join. So this was foundation single crochet. Here's how to join it with foundation single crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook in that foundation chain and pull up a loop like normal. But now before I make that chain stitch, I'm going to come around and make sure I'm not twisted. I'm going to insert my hook through that starting chain, and now I'm going to pull a loop through both that and that. So now I'm joined on the bottom, and now I'll finish my single crochet. And now if I was working in the round, I could join this to my starting stitch with a slip stitch, and now my circle is joined on the top and the bottom, so there's no gap here on the bottom. So that's joining a foundation single crochet. To make a foundation double crochet, also called a base chain double crochet, I'm going to start with a chain 3 because that's the size of a turning chain in double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook in that first chain and pull up a loop. So that starting part is just like a double crochet. But now instead of finishing the double crochet, I'm going to yarn over and pull through just one loop to make an extra chain on the bottom. Now I'll yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2 to finish the double crochet. Now for the next stitch, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to go through that chain, that extra chain that I just made on the bottom. You can see, so this was my starting chain, and this was my extra chain that I made. I'm going to go through both the loops so that there will be a nice V on the bottom of my project when I'm done. So I go through both those loops, yarn over, pull through, and now I need to make sure I make my foundation chain, so I'm going to yarn over and pull through 1. So I've got an extra chain on the bottom, then finish my double crochet by yarning over and pulling through 2 twice. Again, going through my extra chain, pull up a loop, make an extra chain, finish the double crochet. Go through that stitch, yarn over and pull through, make an extra chain, yarn over and pull through 2 twice. So this is a foundation double crochet, and I use this all the time. It is so useful because it's so much stretchier on the bottom because that yarn is worked through with the rest of the crochet. And so it makes a much more flexible fabric. You're much less likely to have, for example, a blanket that looks wonky because your starting chain was too tight, or a garment that has a tight edge where you started. So see how that doesn't curve as much? It's very nice. So this is foundation double crochet, and you can see on the bottom I've got this nice row of V's. So it's going to look really great on the bottom edge. I don't have to worry about that. If you were working a project in a circle and you needed to join the base chain double crochet to itself, normally if you tried to join this, you would have a gap on the bottom. You'd join the tops and it would be disconnected on the bottom because your starting chain wasn't connected. So I'm going to show you how to join a foundation double crochet. So I'm going to start like normal. I'll yarn over, insert my hook in that foundation chain, yarn over and pull through a loop. Now before I make that extra foundation chain, I'm going to bring my project around, insert my hook in that first chain. Now when I yarn over, I'm going to pull through that first chain and my foundation. So that's joined on the bottom, and then I will finish my double crochet, and now I can join the top with a slip stitch. So now I'm joined on the bottom, I'm joined on the top, and I can keep working in the round. Alternatively, if I did not want to do it that way, I could choose to just join it, yarn. I could choose to just join it on the top, going through that turn chain with a slip stitch, and then I could take my tail here and I could sew it through the bottom. So I've joined on the top. Now if I wanted to, I could take this tail and I could sew it through my foundation stitch here on the bottom. I would use an actual needle if I was going to do it for real, and sew it through the bottom to close up the bottom. But I prefer to just do it as I go instead of having to sew it at the end. But just keep in mind that if you forget to do it, you do not have to go back. You can just sew it in with your tail. So that is a foundation double crochet, and the same principle works for basically any other stitches. You could do foundation puff stitches, I guess. Most often I see it with double crochet, single crochet, or triple crochet. So foundation triple crochet or half double crochet you could do too. 4 stitches because that's the height of a triple crochet, yarn over twice, pull up a loop in that first stitch, then an extra chain, and then finish the triple crochet. The principle of the foundation stitch is always that after you insert your hook in the base and pull up a loop. Now you make one extra chain, because you need to make an extra chain stitch so you have a chain as you go. So that's foundation triple crochet. Okay, I hope that makes sense and that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button to find out all of the latest new videos, and happy crocheting!